welcome to Imanni Music Lessons, where we learn how to make music a mental health solution in our lives. Thank you so much for joining me today. Before we get started, let's get our bodies all loosened up for today's lesson. So loosen up, shake out that body. Make sure that your body is sitting on the chair in an L shape also, and also make sure that your arms create another type of L shape over here too. Last but not least, make sure that your hands are nice and loose. Shake them out, stretch them out, and make sure that gravity is letting them hang down, and also let your shoulders hang as well. Take a deep breath in and the breath out. Awesome. Our bodies are ready to play some music. Now let's make sure that our minds are ready too. And let's start out with a little mental health quote straight from J.K. Rowling's. Happiness can be found even in the darkest times if one only remembers to turn on the light. So when you're playing and you're feeling stressed, you're feeling a little bit anxious, that's okay. Turn on the light, turn on this little music lesson and learn something new. And always feel free to send me a message as well if you're struggling with something specific. Let's get started with today's lesson. Now, on to the next thing. Now since we know how to sing it on ba, let's add some solfege to this. What is solfege? Solfege is sight singing. It allows us to sing music with specific syllables related to the notes that we're singing. Right now we're going to be doing something called movable do, but you don't have to know anything about that right now except that the technique is called movable do. This will become important in the future lessons. Okay, so let's use movable do here. Here's a little quick tutorial on what is solfege. If you've ever heard the movie The Sound of Music, then you might have already noticed what solfege is. Do you remember them singing do, a deer, a female deer, ray, and the rest of that song? Well, if you do, then you already know a little bit of solfege. Those syllables that they're singing inside of that song are actually the syllables used in solfege. We start out with do. There's also hand signs, but we'll talk more in detail about the hand signs later. But this is what they look like. By the way, there are other ways to do these hand signs, but this is the way I found most beneficial for my students. So let's say we're doing a C major scale still, and we're trying to find do right here. The first note in solfege is do. Do. That sounded a little bit off, right? Let's figure out where it is and make sure that we hit that note correctly. Do, do, do. Nice, we found it. Do. The next note is re. Re. The next note is mi. Mi. The next note is fa. Fa. The next note is sol. Sol. The next note is la. La. Ooh, that sounded a little bit out of tune. Let's try it again where we move into the note. And then we'll take a moment to just land directly on the note. So let's go underneath the note and then move into it. La, la. Nice, we got the note. Now let's land directly on it after hearing it. The way that you do this is by internalizing the sound. When you hear the sound, you're singing inside of your own head, la, and then you're actually projecting that as sound. La. Okay? T. So this next note is called T. And then the last note brings us right back to do. Do. Or we can bring it down an octave. Do, do. So in full, it goes like this. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Awesome. We just did a full scale together. Great job, y'all. This has been our tutorial on how to play a C major scale with your right hand. I've thrown in a lot of other technique and other things to think about while you're doing this just with your right hand. Because when it comes to music, There's a lot of components involved inside of it, which makes it super fun. Music is not just playing notes. It's not just memorizing where fingers go on the piano. It's also experiencing the music and allowing the music to be part of you. And that's what makes music a mental health experience. Thank you so much for watching the C major scale Imanni music lesson. We're so glad to have you here today, and I hope that you learned something about music and also ways to incorporate music inside of your mental health. This has been Imanni. I write music for mental health awareness. Signing out.